Afternoon, student. Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss a new topic on 4th unit using VB.NET to develop managed components under the chapter 5th chapter building .NET managed components for Complex. Students, do you remember I already explained the first session of this unit that managed components for .NET framework has been developed with the help of the programming languages such as VB.NET and the languages which are supported by the .NET framework. Here we are going to discuss about how to develop the managed code with the help of VB.NET. Got it? While developing a managed components, before that we need to defining namespace, using the class library, using component plumbing code, adding initialization code, creating methods, creating properties, and using all these class library in an application. Got it, students? Okay, first we are going to discuss about the defining namespace. What is mean by namespace? I already explained it in the 3rd unit. I think it is on 4th chapter. That is active server service provider, directory service provider, I think. Okay, what is mean by namespace? It is just like a package which consists of hierarchical order of class names. Namespace are a way to hierarchically organize various class names which are help to define a managed components. Got it? Here I show an example. When you use the console.writeline command, you are using an assembly called console that exists in the system namespace. Where the system namespace reside? It's in the operating system DLL file, that is system32. System32 or system 64. If the operating system is a 32-bit operating system, it is specified as system 32. If the operating system is a 64-bit operating system, it is a system 64. Commonly it is named as system. Got it? Here what is meant by console.writeline? From Java programming we write the code for printing output is system.out.println. Just like in Java, system.out.println. In .NET, here we are using console.writeline. It is for writing a line, printing the output in the console window. Got it? When you use the console.writeline command, you are using an assembly called console. Here console is an assembly which is exists in the namespace system. What is console? In the namespace, console is an assembly which is reside inside the system namespace. Got it? In the code, console is not fully qualified because it is assumed to be a part of the system namespace based on the uniqueness of the name console. So here I specify in the second point console.writeline. It is not fully qualified because we have to include system keyword before console.writeline. Why we use system keyword? Because it is reside inside the system namespace. So its syntax is system.console.writeline. Then give a message or any variable inside as an argument. Got it, students? System in Java programming we use system.out.println. Just like in VB.NET, here we are using system.console.writeline. Got it? Next, using the library class. Using class library. Using the class library. Using the class library. How to use the library files in our application. Got it? Managed component starts with a VB.NET project called a class library. That project is named as the class library. While you are creating a VB.NET, in the first class itself I told ASP.NET programming helps to develop a web application. So we are creating website. VB.NET helps to develop Windows application. So we are specify the application developed by VB.NET is project. Got it? Managed component starts with the VB.NET project, which is called a class library. It puts the infrastructure in place for creating an assembly for packaging a component. There are several project properties and options for class library projects. For a class library projects, there are several properties and options. If you want to view or modify any properties, just by selecting the menu project, under the project menu we have to select the properties. Got it? Why we have to select properties under project menu? To change the project properties and options for the class library projects. Got it? By default, VB.NET assigns the name which is specified for the project as the names for assembly and the root namespace. That means the name which we given for the VB.NET project is assigned for both the assembly and the root namespace. Got it? Just remember students, while we are developing package program in Java programming, just we save the Java program with the help of the class name. That is the package name. Just like here, by default, VB.NET assign the name which is specified for the project is assigned for both assembly and the root namespace. Got it, students? Okay. Next, we move on to using component and plumbing code. Before that, I missed the syntax for using the class library. Here I specify it. How to the syntax for class library. Syntax for class library. Just use the dim keyword, a variable, obj, my object, here is the syntax. Just view this. Dim obj my object as obj my example dot some class in the assembly. How to use the class library? Just first we have to declare an object for assigning the class library. Here the variable we use for assigning the class library is obj my object as. Here we specify the class library. What is the class library? Obj my example dot some class in the assembly. Okay, any class we may use. Got it? This is the window. This is the window for creating a project. Here Visual Basic project. We have to file to new. It will display the new project window. Here we may select the Visual Basic project. Next we want to specify the name for the project. Next click the OK button. Got it? Next it will display the project properties page. We can change the properties for the project here. After that there is a solution explorer. it will show the hierarchical order of the project. Got it? Okay, students. Next, using component plumbing code. That means we have to create a class for developing a managed component. Before that, first here we have to develop an empty code. That empty code is just look like this: public class, name of the class. Next, the class file must be end with end class. This is an empty class. Got it? Next, that VB.NET IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environments. Add this code for you for an empty class. That IDE itself, from the VB.NET IDE itself, we can create an empty class. Here the class name is class 1. Got it? This class, it is not class I, class 1. Class 1. That class file is saved under the file extension .vb. A .vb file is also generated that contains the class code. For example, give the class another name. Here, I specify the class name as CTags component just by renaming it from the Solution Explorer. I show it in the last slide, the Solution Explorer. Wait, I will show. This is the Solution Explorer. In class 1, the default name is class1.vb. Just by right clicking on the class1.vb and change it as CTags component. Got it? Next, how to initialize the code. That is adding initialization code. We have to declare the variable privately. Next, create a function, public sub new, specify the default percentage as constant m underscore dbl, m underscore double tax rate equal to 5. M underscore dbl tax rate equal to 5. This is a command line. This is specify default percent tax rate is as command name. That is, we can specify it as run. You already know what is meant by run. It shows the command line section. Got it? This is the initialization code, how to initialize the class. Got it? Next, creating methods. In the last slide, we just specify how to initialize the variable. Here, how to create methods inside the class. Methods are simply member functions and subroutine. Here, the method is public function. Method means function. It is start with the keyword function and end with end function. Here, this function is designed to process or calculate the price after tax payment. That function is public function calculate price after tax. Here is an argument buy val amount as double. That function must return a double value, double output. That is the data type. The output returned by that function is in double data type. Calculate price after tax equal to that formula amount amount star, amount, it is not amount equal to amount into amount into 1 plus m underscore double tax rate divided by 100. Got it? Next, creating properties. How to create properties? We can either change the property through the properties window or by the programming code itself. Here, how to change the property is specified here. Public property, and it must be end with end property. Just get tax rate, next end get, next set the tax rate, or it is end with end set. Got it? Next, how to use all these codes that are adding initialization code, creating methods, creating properties, how to include these all in the class library. It is just an example, there is no explanation. Next, we are going to see another one new topic, serviced components. What is meant by serviced components? Serviced components, from the name itself, serviced, already created component, already pre-processed component. The pre-processed components can be used in our own application, that is serviced components. Building components and class libraries is a good way to organize your code, but the main advantage of writing class libraries and components for your application is to gain the benefits of COM plus component services. Why there is an advantage for using these COM plus component services? Because there is no need to write large amount of code. We can fetch it from that object pooling, or we can specify the security with the help of the complex component services through role based security. Got it? With complex component services, your component can take advantage of automatic transaction processing. We already discussed about what is meant by automatic transaction processing, object pooling, and role based security. Components that use the complex component services are called serviced components. What is meant by serviced components? Components that use the complex component services are called serviced components. A new component which may use an already existed component services from the complex object pool is called the service components. Got it? Here is an image for the database. For an example, supermarket ordering and inventory system. Supermarket ordering and inventory system. Got it? It is an example. What is the supermarket there? What are the functionalities performed in the supermarket? There is an order, also stock maintenance in the supermarket. Got it? The system will track the inventory as well as receiving orders. There are 3 different types of users will be work with this supermarket ordering system. Who are they? Suppliers, supervisors, and receiving clerks. What is the functionality of suppliers? Suppliers enter any order that we expect to receive into our database. Supervisors authorized to add new products to the database. Receiving clerks and supervisors are authorized to receive orders. Got it? That data flow diagram is shown here. Got it? First table is inventory. That inventory table consists of, these are individual table: inventory table, order table, product table, and the order detail table. There is a connection here. It will show the foreign key, weak entity, and a strong entity. You already studied this about in the RDBMS. Here, the inventory table consists of how many fields? 3 fields: bin number, SKU, quantity. In this table, the bin number is act as a primary key. Next, the product table: SKU, description, unit price, stocking, bin number. Here the SKUs act as a primary key for product and foreign key for inventory table. Got it? Next, orders table. Orders tables consist of, what are the fields inside the orders table? Order number, supplier name, order received. Here the order number is the field which is helpful for primary key. Next, order details table consists of order number, line item number, SKU, quantity received, quantity, ID. Here ID is act as a primary key and the SKU is act as a foreign key which are accessed from the product table, and the order number is act as a foreign key which are accessed from the orders table. Got it? Next, here the metadata, we specify the metadata, that means what are the column names used in the inventory table and what are the data types. The inventory table consists of bin number, SKU and quantity. The bin number is stored as character data type, SKU is stored as character data type, and quantity is the integer data type. Next, the product table. Product table consists of the following fields: SKU, description, unit price, stocking bin number, which is also certain data types. Next, order table. The order table consists of the three fields: order number, supplier name, order received. Order number is varchar or supplier name is stored as a varchar. Order received is bit. That means order received, there we have to set a flag. Either it may 1 or 0. 1 means true and 0 means false. If the order is received means it is set as 1, and if it is not received means it is set as 0. So it must be specified in a data type bit. Got it? Next, column names and data types for the order details table. Order detail table consists of the following fields: order name, line item number, SKU, quantity received, quantity and ID. These are have the some data type: varchar, int, and identity. Identity means uses a primary key. Got it? From here itself, this chapter, I complete this chapter here. After that, there is a working example. It is for just practical purpose. You may just study from here itself. Got it? The fifth chapter is over. That means the fourth unit, first chapter over. Next, the sixth chapter is the second chapter of the fourth unit. Got it? It will be explained in a new section. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask me through WhatsApp, YouTube or Google Classroom. Keep study, students. Thank you.